Hello, I'm Dominic Sarah,
I'm Luca.
and we are with Emily Rocha, artist from San Diego, and also, of course, with Jess from Symbiotic Comics. Uh, Emily, since you're an artist, we would like to ask you one question of how did you get interested in art? How did you want to start being comics or strings on the internet?
When I was younger, just like a lot of kids do, I really like to draw. But also I had very limited cable access. The only channels I had were Fox, CBS, and ABC. So I grew up a Fox Kids, where I would watch the Spider-Man 90s series, the X-Men 90s series, a lot of the other like comic-based cartoons that were on Fox at the time. And I fell in love. I became a Marvel kid very early and started collecting comics.
Yeah. Okay. So you grew up just kind of recreating the characters of from the Fox shows of the Spider-Man ones of the 90s, or
I was just a kid. It was all about superheroes. It was all about Spider-Man and X-Men and the Avengers. Just that was what I was in love with.
Yeah. So where did you go to school?
Oh yeah.
I went to private schools. I went to just this little tiny private. I went to very, very small schools. So I didn't have a lot of people around me all the time. So I would just spend a lot of my recesses drawing.
Yeah, I can understand that. Did you go to a college to pursue art, or did you go for something else?
I wanted to pursue an artistic medium, and I chose photography because that sounded easy. The way it worked back then was I was able to have free medical insurance through, my dad was in the Navy. So as long as I went to college, to a local community college, as long as I kept a C average.
You got free medical insurance?
Yeah. So that's basically the whole reason I went to college. And I started doing photography. After school, in college, I wasn't really focused on drawing as much. But then I had to take a Photoshop course back in an early version of Photoshop. And when I did that, I had to do a line art drawing or a line art coloring project. And something clicked, and I wanted to keep doing that for a career. So that's when I started working with comics, was as a colorist.
Okay, so you're more of a colorist than a line artist?
In the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So how exactly did you get into the industry then?
Well, it was really about networking. First, I practiced for a lot of my school projects. I focused on really building that skill and creating a website for myself and filling it with artwork that I'd colored. Excuse me. And so as I was doing that, a lot of my fellow students took notice, and so I would do commissions for them sometimes. I would color their artwork and send them the file, and it didn't pay much. A lot of times I did it for free. But eventually I got noticed by an inker that was looking for a colorist for a project. And the project ended up falling through kind of above our heads between the writer and the producer. But then that inker and I worked together for 5 years after that. And so that's how I got to go to conventions to help him at his table, and where I met a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah. Okay. So you met a lot. Okay. So you met a lot. You say you met a lot of people through this person. Are they connected to where you are now as a working like with this current studio you're with now, or
No.
or no?
So it's
Okay.
we worked together for about 5 years, and then we kind of went our separate ways.
Okay.
And it
Well,
was
how did you meet your current studio? Sorry.
In 2016. That was my first San Diego Comic Fest by myself. It was the first one I was doing alone. I was really nervous because it was my first time that I wasn't somebody's partner in comics. I was my own artist. And so when I showed up, they gave me an artist alley table, and then a guy named Scott Lost came up to me, and he was like, "Hey, I really like your work. Do you want to hang out? Do you want to do some drawing?" And he was basically collecting artists to that he thought were cool. He thought they would like jive with his style, and he just wanted to put a collective together. And yeah, that's how we found each other. It was all at San Diego Comic Fest. We go back to that show every year.
And together they form a comic studio.
We did.
Yeah. So you've been with this studio for like a while.
Yeah. 2016 was when we met.
What are you working on currently?
Currently, I am working on the next anthology. Right now, it's in the very beginning stages, though. I have a writer gave me a couple of character concepts, and that's basically it. So the writer is fleshing out the story for me, and so right now I'm just doing character designs.
Okay, so you're not really you don't really like to write your own story. Is that out of choice, or?
I've done it before, but I really prefer to have a writer. It just lets me focus on the thing that doesn't make my brain explode.
Yeah. You don't gotta worry about everything. You just have to worry about the one part of it that you're working on.
Yeah, I have a weakness for overthinking plot holes. And so a lot of my stories don't go anywhere because I feel like they just
because everything has to make sense.
Exactly. And when you're writing comics, a lot of things don't make sense, but in a sense they have to.
Yeah. Have to understand the idea of like suspension of disbelief, but you want to make sure that
it's not stretched too thin.
That there's a balancing act between reality, fiction, plot holes, what's necessary.
Totally. I love to give writers work. It's nice to work with different writers, and it expands your ability to interpret different people's stories.
Yeah. That too. What's another question? Okay.
So what else have you worked on in the past?
Before I did the anthologies, before I met the aliens, I basically just colored a lot of commissions. And I did a few of my own commissions, but mostly I colored other people's commissions. Like they would get an ink commission at Comic-Con and say like, "Hey, I want this colored, like a colored version of this." And so they would send me the file and I would color it for them. And then they could have two versions of the same artwork on their wall. And so that's what I mostly did. I mostly did just like character commissions before I met the aliens, and we were like, "Hey, we should publish stories." Commissions and pinups were really easy ways to make money. But writing stories is what we really wanted to do. So that's why we started making the anthologies.
Okay. Did the anthologies pay better?
They pay in books and they pay in clout. It's really the money that we make off of the books goes back into the studio, and it funds our ability to go to shows. For example, before Comic-Con was canceled this year, it was going to be the second year that we had a small press table, and small press, we did pretty well over there. And when you have small press, it helps to have books. So we had by that time we had 3 anthologies. So it was so that's basically where the money goes. Like I get paid in books that I can sell on my own, but when we sell together as a group at events, all that money goes back into the studio.
Okay. Luke, would you like to ask about the dog in the series?
Oh yeah, so in one of your series, the main character is a dog. So
Which one? Which one are we talking about?
I'll get to the chopper.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's my comic that I make with my dog. He is right next to me, making a mess. So that's Chopper.
Right.
And I wanted to make a comic strip, and but I didn't really have any material at first. And then I met Chopper, I adopted him, and stories just wrote themselves. He's such a character, especially since he's a rescue and I'm his second owner. So his so it just like he has a lot of personality issues that I had to work out. So it made for some good writing.
You have a full character already there.
Totally. And in a sense, he's the writer, I'm the artist. But yeah, let me share my screen here, and I can show you. Can you see it? Here we go. So here are some of the comics that I made with Chopper, and basically, yeah, all these instances just kind of they write themselves. And he's using all the time now that we're all. It's kind of hard to hear you, Emily. Oh, sorry. There you are. Cool. I think I was covering the mic. I'm sorry. So yeah, we're together all the time now. So a lot of these things just kind of write themselves from us being together way too often. He's a good boy though. And that's a recent one that I did. And yeah. So those are my comics. There's a few more. Oops. Sorry, I'm gonna do gallery view. So, can you see me? Am I back?
Great.
Am I back? Can you see me? Okay, good. But yeah, so that's my main project. It's kind of slow going because I would just post them on Instagram, and then after that,
So much a
I
dog
would
can do.
think about it until another story happened. But now I'm actually actively trying to finish 100 comics. Maybe not this year, but very soon. I want to finish 100.
You here if you want to have anything you want to promote, you have something you want to do, you can do it now.
Well, right now I'm getting through this this quarantine with commissions, like D&D commissions. Those are a lot of fun because it's just like a nice character sheet, and it's like I get to draw all these different races, and it's just really cool. It's cool because a lot of people are playing D&D now. A lot of people are using Zoom to play D&D with all this free time they have and to create all these. I have this dwarf character. I really would like to have like a visual, and so I'm doing a lot of that recently. So if you
play
have,
D&D?
I'm sorry. Do I D&D? I don't actually. Yeah. I tried once and it wasn't for me. I had to pay attention too much. I have severe ADHD, so D&D did not work out for me. It was very like I wanted to like get up and do something. But I respect it. I love listening to tabletop games. I love hearing people play it without me having to pay attention to my own part in the story. But yeah, I love making the characters. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm also making t-shirt designs that I'm putting up on Spreadshirt. My store is shop.spreadshirt.color by Emmy. But really, if you go to colorbyemmy.com, all of that is up on my website. All my social links and my Spreadshirt store as well. What else?
So how do we get a shirt from you? Like, because we were talking about that, Jess, because we fell in love with the picture of you with your dog with the ramen. It actually looks like Luca's dog, our dog Murr, and
Aw.
they almost look identical, and it's exactly how she acts when he's sitting there eating his ramen. So we definitely want to carry that one here if we can. But how would we get to you to say, hey, here's Luca, here's his dog. How do we commission a shirt? How do we go about doing that? Do we do it through your website, or just in general, not just us particularly as Symbiotic Comics, but as people in general?
Through email. I usually send people with my business card to colorbyemmy.com, and at the very front there's like, if you want a commission, email me at info@colorbyemmy.com, and we can talk prices. The pricing is usually just it's usually like $35 an hour. So when it's a really cartoony thing, it's on the lower end. When it's something a lot more complicated, it gets a little higher. It really just depends on how long it takes. Yeah, that's info@colorbyemmy.com is where I take all my commission requests usually.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah. And you'll see a bunch of examples on my work a bunch of examples of my work on there too. I have the website laid out, so it's my portfolio and then my store with the different stories that I've done. And actually, all the anthology stories I've done, you can actually download for free or a donation, the digital version from my website. I don't think I can hear you, sorry.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question because I don't know if I missed this because I was on another phone trying to resolve some of our earlier technical issues. But real quick,
That's fine.
I was looking at I love the Alien anthology, and we were thinking of doing for the giveaway, there's one comic left, I believe, that you have in your Alien series that you do still have hard copies of, correct?
The very first one?
I don't know if it was the first one. I think I think it was actually the second one.
Yeah, I do. I do have a hard copy, or I have a few hard copies of that one. Not very many though.
Okay, because we're going to maybe do that as our giveaway at the end. We'll buy one lucky winner a hard copy of that awesome comic.
Nice.
Oh, there. Oh yeah, we might have to buy a couple of those. If you have a couple of those.
Yeah. This is the last time we did the full hologram cover. We were trying to go really retro, but then after that we went to spot gloss colors because we wanted to do something different.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
No problem. Yeah, this is the one where I actually wrote my own story. Where is it? Oh yeah. So I did this one in watercolors, and then I scanned the water. So that was a lot of fun.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think you were moving on to something else, and I got so excited to talk to you about your Alien anthology comic. So I apologize.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I actually moved away from my notes earlier when I thought they were going to make too much noise outside. But yeah. Sorry.
No worries.
So when I started in the industry, it was basically just shows. My whole goal was to get into conventions, to have a table space, and to appear as a professional. And so when I started getting commissions that way, that's just kind of, at one point I wasn't a professional, and then pretty soon I was, because a lot of people were calling me and paying me for my work. And it's kind of funny when you kind of stumble into the industry like that. You're just like, oh, I'm a pro now because people are paying me. That's really the only criteria is that people are coming to you for work. So yeah, I'll show my books really quick. So these are the anthologies. The first one was kind of a free-for-all, no real theme, and these are gone. Those ones are gone. And then we've got the second one, which was kind of our sci-fi theme. And then the third one that we just finished last year is the creature feature. This one I'm really proud of because I was able to flex my poetry skills as well as art. I'm not really much of a poet, but I did pretty well in this one. And so that story you can download from my website, or you can buy the digital book from accidentalaliens.com. And yeah, other than that, I have done a few children's books. for basically people that I met at the dog park, people that were like, oh, you're an artist, I have a book that I've written. And so this one's called Bella's Bubbles, and it's about a girl that just wants to share happiness with the world, and the bubbles are representative of like just good thoughts, good feelings. And then I also made a story, or she wrote the story, by a lady named Jill Bowles, about her three pets, a dingo, a dog, and a chicken. And so these are more like picture books, not really comic books. But yeah, so that's some of the stuff I've done. I love working for people like that, because it really expands it. Every time I do a project like that, it's like I have to do something new. I have to get a little bit further outside of my comfort zone. And yeah, it's been great. So should I keep going? Did you have any more questions? I'm sorry.
I have another question now that I talked
Okay.
to you, because it's funny, Luca was walking around and then he heard you talking about the dog books, and I heard him go, dog. So, because he's just in love with his dog Myrrh, and like I said, it just reminded so much of yours. So you do commissions on whole books too, then? It's not just the like, if we commissioned you to do a picture for a shirt, like if somebody gave you an idea for a book and a story, like Luca and his dog Myrrh,
Mm-hmm.
you might work. Is that a collaboration? Is that an actual thing, or is that just a commission thing?
That's by commission. It's the same. I charge an hourly rate. Yeah, if someone has a script for me, I just have to estimate how much time it takes. And then once we agree on a general price, we go from there.
What a wonderful gift for the pet lover too. I mean, you just are just like there, right there with them. So what an amazing thing to do for someone, right?
Yeah, and pets, they don't last as long as we do. They move on, and so it's nice to leave someone with a memory of their dogs. I know in particular, I actually have done a few commissions where the dog had died already. There was a Great Dane named Cleo that I made her portrait, and then I did a short little comic about her for my friend, and it was sweet. I never met her. I only saw her in pictures, but she was a beautiful Great Dane.
Oh,
But yeah, I love dog stories.
so do we. We're dog enthusiasts. We have Meridian Elvis at home, so we love those. Yeah, so what'd you say? Oh, the giveaway. So I think Jessica did the drawing over there in the corner for the giveaway.
Okay.
Just didn't you? While you were over there? You did. And who did we pull for that? Oh, Maria Agnesanti, who's I believe with us on Facebook. Is that how we have her?
She would be if we were live.
Okay, all right. But what we did was, anybody who had signed up to do this on Facebook, we put them into a drawing, and it's Maria Agnesanti. You're ruining her beautiful last name. So we'll get. I'll just go ahead and get it off your site and give that out to her, because I believe she is local. But we love your work. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Oh, this was a lot. Thank you.
We feel absolutely honored. And until we do this next time, hopefully we can get together again, and maybe even face to face one day. Oh, look who's here!
Yeah. So we can say goodbye to Chopper, the star of the show.
Bye, Chopper. Thank you so much, Emily. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.